Meanwhile, the ivermectin bill, that's flown through the statehouse faster than horse dewormer flew off the shelves during the pandemic. It came out of committee just yesterday and passed overwhelmingly through the Senate this morning and then flew through the House this afternoon. Senate Bill 1211 would make ivermectin available in Idaho over the counter without a prescription. Right now, you need a doctor to prescribe the anti-parasite medicine, which is FDA approved to treat parasitic infections in humans. Think worms on the inside or topically for head lice or rosacea. But it still has yet to be approved for use for things like COVID, which is the only reason a lot of us even know about ivermectin. Before that, it was mostly known to farmers and ranchers to get rid of worms in livestock. And then some started promoting it as an alternative medicine for the coronavirus, despite never being proven it worked. And there were some studies done with it, but its effectiveness showed to be about the same with the control group who took a placebo, so not really much of a benefit. Still, here we are with Idaho lawmakers, none of which are doctors, by the way, touting ivermectin's seemingly endless benefits.
Does it work? Do doctors recommend it? Yes, yes. Was it used during the pandemic to treat COVID? Yes. Our Idaho's own Dr. Ryan Cole recommends this. Dr. Robert Malone. I could rattle off a bullet list, but I don't think I need to.
But you might want to, Senator Lenny, because I'm betting that list of reputable doctors you referred to is pretty short. I'm sure you noticed the air quotes that Senator Lenny used for the pandemic, so you can kind of see what side he's coming from. But you might want to expand that list, as I said, Senator Lenny, because both those doctors you mentioned, that'd be Dr. Ryan Cole and Dr. Robert Malone, they don't really have a decent track record when it comes to COVID or medicine in general. There's Dr. Robert Malone right here on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial back in January of 2022 during a demonstration against the COVID-19 vaccine. Dr. Malone's claims and suggestions during the pandemic have been discredited and denounced by medical professionals for not only being wrong, but also kind of dangerous. And there, standing right behind him, is Idaho's own Dr. Ryan Cole. As you can see on his right, your left, the clinical pathologist told us 4 months prior to that demonstration in D.C., ivermectin was certainly in his rotation. Do you know, ballpark or even a specific number, how many you prescribed with ivermectin?
Couple hundred.
Okay.
And 95% have been better in 24 to 48 hours.
It was that unrestricted practice with those prescriptions that got Dr. Cole's medical license in Washington restricted for 5 years for knowingly sharing misinformation about COVID and virtually prescribing ivermectin without examining patients and against medical practice standards. He now has to stick to just pathology in Washington. Was he disciplined in Idaho for the same thing? We don't know, because Idaho's Board of Medicine isn't allowed to say. Then came time to turn the debate on ivermectin to all the things ivermectin can do.
I have a story of a cattle rancher that I know. His partner got cancer, and he chose to treat her with the ivermectin that he uses for his cattle. He and her treated themselves, and she no longer has cancer. Now that's just hearsay.
It's just hearsay, almost as if you're just on a podcast and just saying stuff, except you're on the floor of the Idaho Senate. Does ivermectin cure cancer? No, it doesn't. Now, there have been some small studies done on mice and some research into how it works alongside other treatments for breast cancer, but there's been nothing to show it has successful results in humans because ivermectin is an anti-parasitic drug.
With ivermectin, what we're hearing about with a lot of the cancers is a lot of the cancers are now, they're finding is parasite driven. There's parasites. And they're finding that actually ivermectin is a huge help in those who have cancer.
Again, it's not. And also, cancer is not parasite driven. Some can be viral, but there's no evidence that they are manifested or made worse by parasites. Cancer is caused by genetic mutations, and that's how it spreads. Kind of like disinformation or conspiracy theories, right, Senator Zeiderveld?
The reason why there's a fight against this and why they didn't want to have this cure out even during COVID is because that it's a cure. And we all know that, there's only money if they can keep us sick. I myself, during COVID, we took ivermectin. I still, to this day, if I get a cold, I take ivermectin.
Is it difficult or not to get? It sounds like it's, well, pretty easy. But either way, the CDC says there's no scientific evidence or data that supports ivermectin is effective against the cold or the flu or even RSV. So here's the thing. In order for a drug to be available over the counter, it has to be approved for that by the FDA, and we all know that could take some time.
But Idahoans shouldn't have to wait for federal bureaucracy to catch up before they can make informed choices.
So the question is, aren't these the same people, though, who are worried about how quickly the COVID vaccine came to market? And now we don't want to wait for actual clinical studies to show if ivermectin is effective on anything like this, but we're just going to push this through because we asked, and Senator Kevin Cook brought up during debate today that there isn't a pharmacist or a doctor in Idaho that stepped forward and said, we want this to happen. And when we asked what the Idaho Board of Pharmacy thought about this bill, they sent us this, and they says, quote, this legislation did not originate with the Idaho Board of Pharmacy, and we do not have a position on it. That's what they said, end quote. Meanwhile, Senate Bill 1211 passed the Senate, as you heard there, 25-9. It passed the House 66-1. Next stop, the governor's office.